Hello. Welcome to my third episode on working with Microsoft Excel, the basic operations. So, today we'll see how to input a formula to do some calculations. So, in this episode, I have just taken the simple arithmetic operations of sum, addition. So, we are going to see how we can use a formula to add two or more numbers. So, on my screen, you have the datasheet which we created. We have student name, we have the marks of two subjects, maths, science. Of course, we have the student ID in the column A. In the column E, we are going to add the 2 marks of mathematics and science, and we are going to enter it in column E. So when you use a formula to do some calculation, there's a small difference the way when you enter the values in the cells. When you enter a text data like say name, or when you enter a numeric data like numbers, you just directly go to that particular cell and then you just type it. So say for example, if I have to enter a value in cell G3, I just make the cell active, the G3 cell, and then I type some values and then press the enter button. The value gets updated in that particular cell. So this is how we enter a normal value. But when you enter a formula, we need to start the formula with a equal to sign. Whenever we enter or whenever we begin entering the data with equal to sign, Excel will understand that we are going to enter a formula. The value what we are entering is a formula, not a normal data. That's how the Excel will interpret. So always remember, whenever you type a formula, you need to give we'll need to start with a equal to sign. Say for example, if I want to add two numbers, say 50 and 52. So if I directly go and type in this cell G3, say 50 plus 52, Excel will not add the two numbers. Why? Because this would be treated as a text, alphanumeric, or with some special characters. So if you look at the data here, all the text is aligned towards left and all the numbers are aligned towards the right of the cell. Same way in this cell G3, when we entered 50 plus 52, it has aligned it to the left, means it is treating it it is not treating it as a number, it is treating it as a text. So that's why when you input a formula like this, Excel will not take it. The same thing, if I start with the equal to and then type 50 plus 52, and now if I press the enter, you will get the answer 102, and you would see the values aligned towards the right side of the cell. It means it's a numeric data. Okay, so that's how we work with the formula in Excel. So similar to a calculator, even if you want to add two numbers, what do? You just type 50 plus 52, but the difference is we need to prefix it with the equal to sign, then you type the number. It will work as a normal calculator. So any formula in Excel, any function in Excel will always start with a equal to symbol. Please remember it. So here we need to add these two numbers. There are a couple of ways to do the summation or addition. So the simple thing is I'll start with the equal to, and then I'll just type 100 plus 40 and then press the enter button. This will give me the answer. If it is a one particular entry of calculation, this is fine. This method is good. But in this example, in this data table, we have 10 numbers to be added. So if you follow this method, so everywhere I need to type the values everywhere. So this is going to take a lot of time. Alternatively, we can try copying this. If I copy this, what you would get is everywhere you will get the same number equal to 96 plus 45, 96 plus 45. So everywhere I'm getting the same thing. So this is not going to work. It means I need to manually go to each and every cell and I need to enter the values there. 92 plus 50 over here. Here I need to give 88 plus 55. So this is going to take a lot of time. Imagine if your data set has got more than 1000 records or even more than million records. This is not going to work. So this method is, though it is correct, technically, it's not going to help us. There is another way to do it. So we could say we'll start with equal to. Now, instead of entering the values there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the cell reference. What do you mean by cell reference? Cell reference is the address of each and every cell. Each and every cell in Excel has got an address. So here what I'm going to do is, instead of telling Excel, okay, add these two numbers, what I'm going to tell Excel is add the contents of these two cells. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this cell C2, and then I'm going to introduce the addition symbol, and then I'm going to click on this symbol in this cell, which is D2. So instead of giving the values directly, what I'm instructing Excel is you add the contents of the values which are stored in that particular cell C2 and D2. And now I'm going to press the button enter. This way, what I have achieved is I have used the cell address, not exactly the value. What is the advantage of this is, imagine if I change this value here, instead of 40 I make it 50, and you would see the value automatically changes. Why? Because here we did not give the numbers directly to add. Instead, we instructed Excel that it should pick the value stored in that location and then to add. Okay, so this way we could only with the help of cell address we could achieve this. Otherwise, it's not possible. For instance, if I directly give, say for example, 96 plus 45 and press enter, and imagine if I change this value to 50, this total marks doesn't change because this number doesn't change, it remains as 45 only. So that's the advantage of using the cell reference in the formula. Now, having used the cell reference, we can just simply copy the values to all the cells. But what happens is Excel is very, very smart. What we entered here, we entered C2 plus D2. And then what we did, we copied this formula and we pasted it to all the 9 cells below that. So what Excel did is, when I copied it, see, look at this, it automatically it has incremented the cell address. In the first instance, it was C2 and D2. In the second instance, it is C3 and D3. The third instance, it is C4 and D4. In the fifth instance, it is C5 and D5. Don't you think Excel is very smart? If it was not smart, what you should have actually got is, you should have got 140 everywhere. Because what we typed C2 plus B2 plus C2 plus D2. But what Excel did was, it was very smart. It understood that we need to add these two numbers. So the next cell, we need to add the other two numbers in the next row. That way, Excel can help us to save a lot of time. Okay, so what happens here is, if I copy this and say, for example, if I paste it in this cell, which is H5, what we have got is a 0. Let us open this formula and see what's the difference. Now you would see here in the cell H5, I didn't type anything. I just Control C and Control V. I just pasted the formula. So what Excel has picked it is, it has picked the same pattern of that formula. What was the pattern in that formula? In the cell E2, we added the values in the two of the cells which were present right to that particular cell, which was C2 and D2. Same way here, when I copied and pasted the formula in H5 cell, it has rewritten the formula, it has changed the formula to add the two number values which are stored in that adjacent cell towards its right, which are F5 and G5. So that's how the when you use cell address and when you copy and paste it, the cell reference also gets changed everywhere, because we are not adding the numbers, we are adding the value stored in that particular number. So please remember that. So when you copy something from Excel where there is a formula, the cell reference is going to change. Sometimes it is advantageous, sometimes it might create a lot of problems, but we need to understand how Excel operates with copy and paste when there is a formula. Even here, we just instructed the computer to manually add two values stored in C2 and D2. Imagine you have a series of items. Say for example, I want the total here. in the cell D12, I want the total of all the science marks at this cell D12. Now this is going to be a tedious process because I need to start with equal to, I need to enter the cells like this, D2 plus D3 plus D4 plus D5 plus, this is going to be very hectic because of course, you know, we have 10 rows. It could be easier, but then if you have 10,000 rows, it's going to be very complicated. But what Excel has is, Excel has some inbuilt formula or inbuilt functions, we call it, which could be used to give instruction to Excel to to perform the same addition task in a much simpler way. So the functions are also, you know, we need to start with equal to symbol. So I need the result here in this cell D12. So I need to enter the formula over here. So equal to, instead of adding the numbers directly or adding the values stored in the cells, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a function called a sum. So sum is an inbuilt function which comes along with Excel. It has been programmed to do addition of a set of numbers. So here, instead of giving one by one like D2, D3, D4, D5, what I could simply do is I could use the cell range. I can just select the entire range of cells. You could see here, instead of giving D2 plus D3 plus D4 plus D5 plus up to D11, what I have done is I use a cell range function. So I'm using the sum function, and I'm using the cell range to indicate that we need to add all the numbers starting from D2 to D11. Okay, so this sum is called as a function, and all the function will have a bracket, parenthesis, and within the bracket we need to pass, it's called as, you know, passing the values. Either we could pass the numbers directly or we could pass the cell reference also. In this case, the cell reference is passed in the form of a cell range. Okay, so whatever you enter within the parenthesis or the bracket, we call it as arguments. Okay, so the arguments over here is D2 is to D11. It means we are instructing Excel to sum all the numbers, all the values stored between the cells D2 and D11 and bring that result in the cell D12. That's what we are instructing Excel. So when I press the enter button, you would see the summation is done and the values stored in the cell D12. So same way I can use the sum function to do the addition here. So equal to sum, open bracket, and I'm going to just select these two cells, C2 to D2, close the bracket, enter, and then I need to copy that formula here, and even now I'm getting the answer. Okay, so this way we could do it, use the functions to compute the sum. In this example, as I said, there are only two values, but in real time you will have a series of numbers to be added and the sum function will be very handy. So that I demonstrated to you over here at the bottom of the table. So we'll start with equal to sum, open bracket, using the keyboard. We'll click on the first cell, control shift down arrow, you select the entire column, close the bracket, press enter, you get the values. Okay, so this is a method to do the calculation. Again, this is a lot of data entry over here, right? We need to use the keyboard to type a formula. So is there any shortcut to do the sum much faster? Because sum is one of the, you know, basic sum and average or most commonly used functions in Excel. So if we could learn a shortcut which could help us to do it much more faster, it's going to be very smart work, right? So here there's a keyboard shortcut. So where do I want the result? I want the result in this cell, say for example cell C12. What I could do is I could press the Alt button on my keyboard, hold it down, and then I need to press the equal to button simultaneously. I need to hold both Alt button and equal to button simultaneously, and you would see here I didn't type the formula. Excel has automatically written the formula for us, and it has also picked the values over there by default. It understood that, okay, I don't have any numbers below me, I don't have numbers left of me, I don't have any numbers right of me, I have only a list of numbers on top of me, range of cells, and it understood it and automatically it picked the values. What I need to do is I need to just press the enter button and I get the sum. Same thing I can do it in this cell E2 also. So what I need to do, no equal to, no typing, nothing. What I need to do is I need to press Alt and equal to symbol simultaneously, and this time you would observe Excel understood there is no numbers below the function, there is no numbers above the function, there is no numbers right side to the function. There is only we have two numbers as a range to the left side of the sum function, and Excel automatically picked those cell references and it has created the formula for us. And what we need to do is just press the enter button, and then you need to just copy this formula to the entire cell, so that entire table, so that you get the addition of all the marks. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this. We just learned the basics of the sum and the auto. Okay, this function, the shortcut what you use, right, alt plus alt and equal to, this is called as auto sum. I'll also show you where you could spot auto sum. Using the mouse also you could do it. So say for example we want to total the science marks, so I'll click here and then you go to home tab. If you come to the right hand side of the ribbon, there is a section called as editing. In that editing section, the first tool, you see a sigma symbol. Sigma is for summation, right? So when I click on that, you could see here the formula is again generated. So you could also use it with the mouse, but the more smarter way is to use the keyboard shortcut alt and equal to, and then press enter. You get the same thing. So this is called auto sum function. Automatically Excel will create the formula, the function for you, which could be accessed through your mouse and also through the keyboard shortcut. I hope you like this, you learned something new. So please join me for the next session, where we will try to learn how to compute average and auto average in Excel. Thank you. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and share it to others so that everyone can learn Excel. Bye bye.